Adobe just pinged me. They want you to do an ad for Acrobat.
An ad? I'm not going to just hawk products. I can evolve.
What makes you so special?
Yep.
This is a PDF with all the contract terms on it. I am actually interfacing with Adobe right now. That's what's so cool about Acrobat, the all-in-one PDF and e-signature solution that allows you to edit, comment on, and sign PDFs from anywhere on any device. Acrobat's got it.
That was weird. But I'm in.
So
Let's
just
do
a little
it.
swoopy thing with your finger. Excellent.
Did you know that you could get $50,000 to over $150,000 of investment capital at 0% interest rates to fund any business or investment that you want? That's right, you could quickly and easily access $50,000 to over $150,000 of free money in less than 30 days to invest in guaranteed businesses and investments, all without having to risk your own cash or credit. And this is even despite all the craziness that's going on in the economy right now. It's true. There's a little known funding hack only used by the wealthiest investors in America right now called 0% interest funding. And 0% interest funding is exactly what it sounds like. It's free money that comes without any interest that you can use to invest into businesses or investments to generate passive income. And this allows you to take advantage of investment opportunities you want to pursue without being limited by the money that you have saved up or being forced to pay interest and fees to credit cards or risky business loans. And in a very short time frame, often in less than 30 days, you can access this abundant amount of capital. If that sounds interesting to you, click on this ad. I'll show you exactly how it works. Otherwise, you can click skip on this ad. So my name is Andrew Mbesi, and I didn't create my income streams overnight, and certainly didn't get any handouts in the beginning either. Just like most people, I had to build my streams of income the hard way until I learned how to use 0% interest funding. And that's when I became
everybody.
no longer.
Welcome to another episode, 2 on 2. We've got a pretty cool guy with us today, and I'm sure everybody's going to know your name, but let's pretend for a second that nobody does. So, who are you? How did you start in Battlefront, and what made you choose your name?
I am when doves cry. I started in Battlefront because one of my friends, he was like my next door neighbor growing up. He got Battlefront on his PlayStation, and I went over to his house and started playing the game with him. And I liked it a lot, and eventually my parents got it for me for Christmas. So that's how I got into Battlefront 2. So I'm actually technically a PS2 player, if you think about it. First played the game on PS2. And then I just played like single player for a long time. I played all the Galactic Conquests like so many times. I don't know if I ever actually finished the campaign. I think I got stuck on Hoth and rage quit it. I just went to the what's it called? Galactic Conquest. Then eventually I found my way to multiplayer, where I just joined the first server I saw, which was JBA, the Jedi Battle Arena, hosted by WGO at the time. Not SWGO, it was the bigger part of that. Then eventually I found my way to the competitive community. As for the name choice, I was originally Chuck Norris for a long time.
Okay.
Because I was huge into those jokes. Like when I made my name, those Chuck Norris jokes were really popular at the time. So I was like, oh, that's so funny. What if I make my name Chuck Norris? I mean, there were a few other Chuck Norrises at the time, but there wasn't like a ton of them, so it wasn't too bad. And then eventually, I heard the song on the radio one time, When Doves Cry, and I was looking for a new name, and I just thought that When Doves Cry sounded really cool, and like mysterious and stuff, and I was like, all right, we're going with that.
So it wasn't because of the song.
Well, the song, yeah, it's not like I've listened to the song a couple times in my life, but it's not like I like actually listen to the song if it's not on the radio.
Oh, okay.
If it comes on the radio, I'll listen to it for a bit, sure, but I've never actually like loaded up the song and just listened to it in my own free time or anything.
Gonna have to get somebody to add you to the PS2 role since you are clearly a PS2 player.
Indeed. That will co-op split screen or whatever.
So obviously the goal is to mostly focus on Steam and the time period there. Not going to get too deep into the past there. Obviously, you mentioned your start. I think a lot of people know you played with C and NC. So let's start. I don't think you were around in 2018, right? It wasn't until 2019 you showed up, or was it late 2018?
According to WoW, I played one scrim in 2018. If I did, I don't remember it. And it was like playing at my parents' house on probably really shitty Wi-Fi. I was most likely playing like with my arm resting on the arm of the couch
Nice.
on my laptop on my lap. So it wasn't really a scrim. If I did play in 2018, but yeah, then I came back in 2019, a month or two, I guess, before the major.
So how did you get back, right? Let's exclude the 2018 scrim if that happened. How did you end up back on Battlefront?
I was messaged by the two greatest community members of all time to return, and that would be WoW and Strider.
Oh, nice.
I believe they messaged me on Steam, asked me to play a couple times, and then eventually I was like, sure, I'll play. And that was it.
All right, so you come back, you're playing. I don't think you weren't at this point in time, you weren't like a top player. You were just, I think you were considered solid. I think that the community ranking had you at platinum or something like that. So we get into 2019, we're at 5v5 at this point. Were you already in the intent of like trying to win, or were you just there to play?
I'm always trying to win.
Okay.
I don't know. It's kind of hard to remember at this point. I was really just getting back into the game, trying to shake a lot of rust off. It was also weird playing the one spec rule because I had never done that before. Like in GameSpy, we did 4v4, Mustafar, GCW. You got 4 Wookiees versus 4 Darkies. And that was just the meta. And then you come into PC and just like one Darkie, one Wookiee running around. It's a lot different. So.
In fact, if I remember right, you really did not want to be a captain. I think you tried to get out of it.
Yeah. Well, the problem was I just didn't know how good so many different people were. Like, everyone told me that Yannick was the best player in the game, and I don't think I had ever played a scrim with him. I don't think I've ever been in the server with him at the time of the draft. So there was like a ton of people that I had no clue how good they were. If they were like, the top player, if they were just an average player. Like I played a scrim against Tech once, and he like shit on me in that scrim. So I thought he was like the GOAT.
Oh yeah, dude.
He just popped off. I played one scrim versus Tech, and he popped off, and I was like, holy crap, this guy is insane. So yeah, it was kind of weird. I wasn't really ready for captain, but I mean I think it worked out pretty well.
I guess we're already moving into it. Let's talk about the team with Trash and Toxic, right? You end up with Ryan. You had Villain when he was playing actively. You had Svenny, Vader. Is that the full team? There was one more, right?
Calcoon.
Oh, and Calcoon. That's right. So tell me about Trash and Toxic. What was it like on that squad?
Well, if you remember, the reason that I was in that draft spot is because we did you pick like the captains would pick their draft spot. And I was rated as the second highest captain, so I got the second to last choice, with Clone being above me. And actually, the second spot was open. I think Clone was the second pick, right?
I don't even think we have a 2019 doc with the draft anymore. At least
I believe it was Vishy picked first, and then Clone picked second. And I was like really scared of picking early because I had no clue who like the top players were. So I was just like, I was just thinking if I just pick last, and I'll just get 2 good picks of people that are still solid that I know who they are. So I just took the last spot, and I ended up getting RRWS, who at the time he was playing really well in those scrims. I think Villain was also like popping off, so I was really happy with those first 2 picks. I think the biggest problem for me was that I picked all like spec players. For those who don't know, Villain was like popping off in 2019, early 2019. He was playing really well.
Yeah, he was.
I picked him. I picked Ryan. But the problem was like all of us were kind of popping off on specs. So we got into one spec rule, and we have Sveti and Kalkud who are also more spec players too. And it was just yeah, that was a bit of a problem for our team. But I think we still had fun overall, and we still like had a really solid squad.
Did you end up? It was like 6th or 7th, 5th or 6th, somewhere in there. If I remember right.
We
Or did you make
we
it all the way? I can't.
we went into losers pretty early, and then
think
we played
It
against
was a
Snug
hype
at
game
some
against
point.
yeah, it was a hype game against Snug. I remember that because we had the Hoth overtime then.
Yeah, we went into double OT on Death Star Conquest was the final map. We were up by a ton on them on the last map, and then they capped us out. I don't really know what happened. We had a huge lead. We had some solid CP control, and then all of a sudden we all just like died for long, and they capped us out. Calcoon was at 5. He tried to run all the way to the hangar, but Sev respawned and spawned in front of him. And if Calcoon had just won that 1v1 versus Sev, I mean, it's a tough 1v1.
Yeah.
Like if he had won that 1v1, then we move on, and they don't. But there's like 30 seconds left on the clock or something. If he just stayed alive, then we win. But they were able to cap us out right at the end. It was a tough loss. I remember Villain wasn't in the game that time. He just like came back on. I was like, what just happened? And, yeah, I mean, I still wasn't really like I hadn't set like a play style or anything at that time. I think I was like a super flag bot mostly on CTF maps. I would just spawn north on Moss every life and just run the flag. So I was still getting used to it. I think if I had a bit more time to prepare, that would have made that team so much more dangerous. But that's kind of unlucky.
Yeah, I think I remember back at the time, everybody was like really hyped up. They were like, "Yeah, okay, all these guys are really good." And then in groups, you were super disappointed overall, if I remember right. But you made it. Everybody made playoffs, of course, and then that playoffs just seems like we finally got the TNT everybody was looking for. You beat us, who were third, like we were third in groups. Dark Raider says there, you beat us in OT, then you nearly take out Snug, and just a bit of unlucky at the end, maybe. So 2019's summer draft gets under your belt, right? And then I think shortly after comes the DCL days. Diamonds can't lose. I don't think that team name lived up to the name, but I mean, talk to me about it. You played with Clone and Legit. You guys played a lot, and you guys, aside from any any team that had, which at the time there wasn't really any other team that had Sev with a good squad at the time. What was it like playing with them? You guys were basically kind of NA's hope at the time.
Yeah, I believe we formed for the first. What was it the first?
You played an
I can't
EBC,
remember
I
the
think,
first
first.
I think it's the first EBC tournament. I think actually Seven Strider had asked me to play with them for that tournament. But I was closer with Legit at the time. I didn't really talk to Sever Strider that much. So I went with playing with Legit because I'd been kind of hanging out with him and talking with him. So I ended up playing with Legit and Clone. I made up DCL. That was a really fun team. Legit was super active at that time. Legit was super insane at that time, by the way, for those who don't know. Legit was absolutely cracked.
Yeah,
He
many
was
people thought he would be the rival to Sev.
he was getting close to there. He was playing insane on Sniper. He was just being clothed in scrims. His
Hello? Uh-oh. Is this our first technical difficulty?
hello.
There he is.
Oh, where did I cut out?
He was carrying you on Sniper, playing insane in scrims.
All right, that's pretty much all of it then. I was gonna say his Sniper was absolutely insane at that time. Like he was just popping off every life with Sniper. He wasn't comfortable at Edgy, but he was still fragging well on it with the shotgun. Maybe on the maps where like a Jabba's or something, he wasn't as comfortable, but on those maps where it's like shotgun is kind of king, is still playing insane. So that was a really fun team. I enjoyed playing with both of them. I think I've actually played with Clone a ton in tournaments since then. So that was like the start of being Clone in tourneys. Um, but I think we were all like, I don't think any of us had really had any 3-on-3 experience at the time. So we were all just kind of getting used to like a very different play style. I don't think I had really ever played 3-on-3 in GameSpy either. It was usually like 4-on-4 or 5-on-5. So it was very different for us to get used to that. It was also kind of awkward because, Clone and Legit were sniper mains, and I was an NG main. So it was like our map pool was kind of awkward. Yeah. I'm not sure what else to say about that.
I guess one question I'm curious about, because I've heard them, and I've been a part of like one of them. Was there a lot of legit rage moments? Because people always seem like Legit is like the super happy guy, cheerful. I've been around for one of those moments where he just like slammed his keyboard and started screaming. But did that happen in DCL?
There were a couple legit rage moments in scrims. It wasn't too bad. It was more like Legit would just have like one big outburst. He would like just scream like "fuck" or something, or like "this is so fucking stupid" or some shit, and then he'd be fine like right immediately after. So it wasn't too bad, and it's not like he would rage at me or Clone. He would more just rage at like himself or the game or something.
Uh-huh.
So it was fine. It happens if you need to rage to have a short outburst. Get it out, get it over with. Sometimes better than holding it in.
Yeah.
So it was fine. It was honestly pretty funny whenever Legit rage. Like Claude and I were usually kind of laughing about it. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean he was definitely more into the game and more, really wanted that win at the time. So I think it just was a little bit harder on his mental.
Okay. I think at this point it maybe not quite right then and there, but people were starting to recognize you were like really good, right? Like you obviously DCL was for a time NA's top team until Sev started getting onto better teams, because everybody knew Sev was good, but the teams he were on at the time, I think, held him back. So you move on. We go into the next year. We're in 2020 at this point. You play with DCL, I think, at the very very first season at the beginning of the year, and then we get into the draft. And who did you end up playing with in 2020, actually? You'd think I'd be more
That
prepared
was
for this stuff.
6 a.m.
That was 6 a.m.
with
And
Zemo, Kitty,
I,
Raptor,
I think
Urban.
it does bear saying at this point, you have made quite a few finals people didn't expect you to make.
I, I always make the ones that I'm not supposed to, and
Yeah, because like at 6 a.m., I think people were like, okay, it's Slender versus Sev, Effortless and Instagrammers are gonna make finals, and then you guys have the most hype match of the tournament ever, and you make finals. So what was it like on the 6 a.m. squad? Playing with Zemo, Raptor, Urbans. I know Smoo didn't actually sign up, but somehow made it on the list.
Well, first of all, shout out to Mr. Smooth. He's actually online on Discord right now, and his profile picture is still the 6 a.m. one. It was originally 4 a.m. from a PUBG team, and then we just called it 6 a.m. It stood for 4 Angry Men, so we just made it 6 Angry Men because there was 6 of us on the team. And then I think Zemo photoshopped in like 2 extra soldiers in their like logo, and changed the 4 to a 6, so that was pretty cool. But that team, I think that was maybe the most fun draft team I've been on. Like I really liked playing with everybody on that team. Urbans was one of the funniest guys to play with at that time. I still remember a scrim we're playing on Italia, and I don't know, we're pretty deep into the map, and he just goes, "I'm 0 kills, guys." And we all just start laughing. Or he's like, "Guys, I'm 0 kills." and Urbans was he was really fun to play with at that time. I think the game eventually kind of got to him a little bit as he started, grinding it a bit more, which happens to a lot of people in this community.
Yeah.
The game can just be very frustrating after a long time, but he had just kind of come back. And Zemo was, he was a player on the rise, so he was fun to play with. Raptor and Kitty are always very easygoing too, obviously, if anyone's ever talked to them. Especially Raptor. He's like just the chillest dude on planet Earth, I
Raptor
think.
somehow drops like 40 kills on a Dagobah, and at the time he's just talking about how high he is. He's an enigma, man.
That's the Raptor way. So yeah, I think that team. I think a lot of people rated us really, really low at the start. I think part of that was because they didn't know how good Urban's was going to be. I remember the first match we played. I think we were like a bottom team in the power rankings, Vishy's famous power rankings of 2020.
Oh man, I remember those. Yep.
And I believe we played against. I think was it the Bomber Che team? Were they on a team together?
Yeah, that was the BTH team.
BTH.
That
Yeah,
had
we played against.
KMAN and Taylor. I can't remember who.
I don't remember who else, but they were like rated like top 3 or something, and we were rated like last or second to last. And I think we just like smacked them in the first match.
Villain.
And everyone's power rankings were just going crazy. So I think like part of that was Urban's. He was a lot better than I think people expected him to be, because he was also just coming back in 2019. But yeah, I think we just had really good like synergy and teamwork, and we were just, nobody was like tilting or anything. We were just having a really good time playing, and that helped us just like play better.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was very happy with that team. It was such a fun team to play on. 6 a.m. forever.
I don't know, how much you remember about this at this point, obviously, because it is, on the year, almost year since it's been. What was it like in that match that I think you guys tied 3 times and you guys won 1 map? And it was like crazy last minute flag caps and everything versus effortless. Do you have like any record, that at all?
I mean, yeah, I still remember parts of it. Let's see, that was when we did our Pepsi line at the start of
Yeah,
Utapau.
I remember that.
And because of that, Raptor and Urbans both missed spawn. And Urbans told us that he missed spawn, but Raptor didn't. So when Urban said that he missed spawn, Raptor just started laughing, and Zebo and I just thought he was laughing because Urban's missed spawn, but Raptor was laughing because he also missed spawn.
Oh
So
my
2 of us
God.
missed the first spawn, or 2 of them missed the first spawn. We go down 0-2, not actually because of the first spawn. Like we held on for like a minute or so, and then they kept us on us twice, and that was when we were playing by map score, right?
Yep.
So like going down 2 caps on Utapau was, everyone was just like, oh, that's a death sentence. So just go to the next map. We somehow managed to cap, I think, 3 flags to win that map. And then
Yeah, I remember. Yep, that was the only map win the entire series.
we go down 0-2 on Brownside Uda, and we somehow managed to come back and 3-0 them. Or, yeah, well, 3-2 them, I guess.
Yeah.
And it was just like, we were just like laughing our asses off at the end of the map. I was just like, they're so tilted, guys. They're so tilted right now. Remember, one of our caps was like Lucas flew off the edge with Darky. And I don't know, it was just pure chaos at the end. Then we go into map 2, right? We're on Mustafar Brown. I think we go up 2-0.
Yeah, I think that's right. And then there was the crazy
and
like
then right at
back-to-back
the
caps.
end we throw and they get 2 caps. So like each team had thrown like crazy at this point. It was just an insane match. I mean, like both teams also played well to get their caps through, but like there was a little bit of throwing going on both sides. I really don't remember map 3 and 4 that much. All I remember is at the end of map 4, Raptors like, I really don't want to play another match. We had just qualified for the finals. It was like, oh, okay, well. I think Raptor was on track for the back-to-back wins if he had been able to do it.
It would have been the 2-peat for him instead of it ended up being a date, yeah, I think back then that was right when J-Man broke his leg, so he could barely play because he was in the hospital.
Didn't he break both his legs?
I think he only broke one, but I could be wrong. All I know is in the hospital. It was like next to impossible for him to play. So that
Hospital Wi-Fi goated.
that was like the beginning of you making finals that everybody was like, nah, that team won't make it. And then I think after this one is when you played the MM team. So you played with Che, Ven,
Spark.
oh yeah, and Sparks, because Sparks and Ven at the time were always together. What was it like on that squad?
That was definitely a little different. I think that was the year where, like, right before signups ended, it was looking like there were three big teams. It was like us, it was Snug, and it was Moyne, who all
Yeah.
looked like they had a really good chance of winning. And then right before signups ended, Slender joined Snug, and it was kind of just over at that point. So that was kind of tough. The only time we ever scrimmed Snug without Slender, we actually beat them by 1 flag. So we definitely felt like, if things had got a little bit differently, maybe we could have gotten a tournament win there. I mean, Moyne was also really strong at that time, so. But it was nice to play with like all the MM guys again, because we had all been on a clan together back in the day. There were a few other MM members in the Discord. I believe Kimu was on MM. Stud was on MM. I don't know if anyone else was. But, MM was a huge clan on PC back in the day. They were at Hero Assault. They had Mandalore, was like the best Hero Assault player. Some people say like all time, at least for No Force. And then after C died, MM was like the only Conquest clan left. So we just kind of we're a really dominant clan. It was nice to play with them all again. I think we. I don't know. We really got kind of shit on in the finals, which felt bad. It was the second finals in a row that I'd lost. Both of them to Sev too, where I kind of got a little bit clapped in the finals. So
That's true.
that was a bit tough, but I think we had a good like regular season.
What was it like playing with the W Keymaster himself?
Playing with Ven is always fun. I mean, he's one of the like greatest like teammates. Like, he'll always hype you up. He always wants to win. He's always doing everything he can to win, right? And if you're ever low health, he just runs over to you. Is like, health pack's behind you. Health pack's behind you. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Health pack's behind you. Health pack's behind you.
So that's Ven. He's for all of Ven's flaws, he is an absolute wonderful human being. I do love playing with him. Sometimes he does need to be, like IGL'd and stuff, and he gets a little bit crazy sometimes, but he's a really good teammate. He will always support you until the end, no matter what. So I enjoy playing with him. I enjoyed playing with that team, and kind of ashamed that we couldn't get the win in the end, but we made it to the finals. It was good.
Let's see. What's that happened? So. Oh, the 4v4 draft.
BA Phage draft?
720.
I don't remember. But that was when we got clapped.
Yeah,
in the playoffs.
I think I still credit to that. We kind of threw maps. I don't remember exactly what happened.
Yeah,
At least we lost to the team that made finals, but yeah.
Yeah, we lost to what's their team
WJC.
name? Yeah, we picked like an NG map into them, even because we thought that they would be good because they, originally with the Niter they were like a sniper team, and we still kind of felt like they were sniper players. So even though they had Slag, we just went with like more of an edgy map. I think we went with Balmora, and they just kind of
because they
really
picked
well.
Mustafar too, and we got.
But our other thought was like Utapau. I think people were kind of low on us at the start of the tournament, and then I think we topped our group.
Yeah, we did.
And then we just bombed out of playoffs, so that was kind of unfortunate. Short tournament there.
Yeah, so the Stud Ace USA team tops the other group, and then we top the other group, where everybody's like NA on top. Then we got a first round of playoffs, so we just get absolutely smashed. I mean, it was 8-5, but yeah, it wasn't even like super close. He played controller versus. Did you, Dave? I believe it.
Yeah, I remember they got one cap on Dagobah that screwed us over. I think that was the first time we played them, wasn't it?
I think it was. I think it was in groups.
That was the group stage where we picked Italia.
Yeah, we
I think we
tied
just
to. It was the
shit on them
2-2.
on both Italias, and then they got one cap on Dago. Dago, CW, God bless.
God bless. Yeah, I remember because us tying WJC was what got us first seed because there was 4 teams in that group with 2 wins apiece, but we had 1 tie, so we ended up in first place.
That was also tournament number 3, I guess, with Clone. There was the EBC, the 3v3 league, and then this one. So I'm at 3 already.
Yeah, I was a totally different person back then. Definitely would have loved to run that back.
Yeah, I think Ice was also still getting back into the community because not really even back into the community, just getting into the community because he was pretty fresh from PS2 at the time. And he was pegged really late. He was still getting used to a lot of different things. So.
We had Billy. That was back when everybody was hype about this guy, and then he went and played WoW.
Yeah, the second tournament in a row where like the last player on the team just goes completely MIA.
Well, he wasn't even MIA. He kept saying he was there, but he was always just playing WoW. He wouldn't come practice.
I think he. I don't remember. I can't remember him or Mr. Smooth. They were like the exact same scenario, and I don't remember which one was which really.
Dark Raider says there was a 2020 ABC tourney with legit Kitty and RWS.
Yeah, that one.
How was that?
That was the 303 tournament.
I kind of remember this now a little bit.
It was legit, and I wanted to play with Ryan, and we put Kitty on as our 4th, and then I think legit that was when he was like really starting to have scheduling problems. So I think I played a lot of matches with Ryan and Kitty.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't think too much of that tournament just because we were just kind of like if there's ever a tournament that I wasn't really going in to win, it was kind of that one. Just playing for fun there.
Yeah, that was the tournament your name was. I haven't chosen yet.
I don't even remember that.
I remember that now. Okay, so we talked about the New Descended. Great team name, by the way. Let's see. Guess next would be, I think, season 3 of 3v3. There's so many tournaments, if you like really back up and look at it, that the timeline is very hard to follow if you don't have every doc right in front of you, and I don't have every doc right in front of me. So was this the season? This is the season you played with KJC.
Yeah, I think I was originally going to not play that season because I just really wanted to break with all the admin stuff. I was streaming and casting a bunch of matches. I was playing at a bunch of matches, so I really wanted to break.
It was like a stacked Division 2 season.
Yeah, I originally didn't sign up at all, and then Shamu had to go to some like island off of France for like 2 or 3 weeks. So they needed a sub to their team because Blade also wasn't really on. So I ended up subbing in for KJC and playing with them. And that was the 3v3 season 2 or Division 2 with IL and Kevin's team, right?
Yeah, and Hot Soup, which looked good. Had some other teams. I mean, you had the Kitty team, the Super Mad Cats. You had Silver's Anonymous, which was like a mainstay in Division 2.
Dave brings up a very good point. I actually, since I was not planning on playing that tournament, and Dave was a free agent, I had messaged Vishy and said, "Do you want to sign up with Dave?" And we were like almost pretty close to actually like going for that. Just playing like a chill D2 season. I don't remember exactly why we didn't do it, but we almost did. I think Dave might have joined Noobs too quickly. Like he signed up already before we asked
Oh.
him, and then so I was just like, all right, well, I'll just sit out then. But yeah, there was almost a team with me, Vishy, and Dave.
That
Would have been a legendary
crazy.
team.
Yeah.
It would have been really fun. It would have been a nice, relaxing season. But it ended up not happening. I got to go relax with KJC.
I mean, so you guys still did really well. I mean, you end up third in Division 2. You had the most flags scored of any team in in the division. So you were just relaxing this season, really? It wasn't really anything serious?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if Shamu's schedule didn't get completely fucked over and Blade didn't have a bad schedule too, I just wouldn't have played at all. I think there was another tournament. I skipped out on the partner draft one. Just every once in a while, I just get a little bit
Yeah, you don't
tired of casting and
and
doing
play.
all the admin
Yeah.
stuff and playing. So
It does get
it's
tiring.
just nice to take a break after a while. I probably honestly would miss more tournaments if I didn't. I think one of the big reasons I sign up for some tournaments is just feel like I just want to help out the player base because sometimes we just need players.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one of the reasons I sign up. But I mean, once I sign up, I'm gonna try to win for sure.
So we talked about that a little bit. I guess we'll talk about this is the season that you were on PD with ISO,
Oh,
Svenny, Hoodie.
yeah, there was a BFH 3 that I also skipped, I think. Right?
They said it was after the draft. So we'll talk about draft first. We'll do draft first. So yeah, we got Hoodie, Svenny, ISO. What's your other?
Baron. Baron was the captain.
Yeah, I remember. Oh yeah, I remember this tournament now. I remember very very famous clip that I was shown. Yeah. So talk to me about PD.
Oh man, PD, that was just a mess. Baron's schedule and ISO schedule were just horrible at that time. Like, I remember there was one time Baron was doing the pick ban, and then he came back into voice after doing the pick ban, and he sounded so fucking tired, and he just said the completely wrong thing. Like he said they picked what we banned or something. He was just so off, and I had to correct him. And he just sounded like he hadn't slept for like 2 days or something. I was just like, oh my goodness.
Oh
And then
no.
ISO schedule is also on like the 2 day a week, and it was usually like a Tuesday and like a Thursday or something. Yeah, then we have an EU player, and then it was just really tough. I think there's a lot of things just went wrong that tournament. We the first match though, we did play with Hoodie against the eventual finalists, and we had a very good chance of going into OT if we didn't throw right at the end. I was running the final flag through as Baron was running the opposite direction. If he had just stayed with me, we would have went to OT against them, playing with Hoodie, who had just played the game for like 50 hours. So I think that maybe, I don't know if our mental just got completely broken from the start or what, but it was just tough. Yeah, it was just all around. Nothing just went our way all around. I guess our team name was pretty accurate. I remember there was a Moss CQ where I got like 8 kills, and I think my team got like 0 or something, and it was tough.
Yeah.
It was just all around. It was a tough year. I think our map pool was just also very awkward. Like, it's not that we were 4 bad players. We just were 4 very different players, and we couldn't, kind of get on the same page.
Nature of draft, I guess.
Yeah, and it was just all around messy. Hoodie had to play quite a few matches, which yeah, I'm happy that she was there to fill in for us. But she was quite new to the community, and still getting used to like everything in the game. So it was definitely tough for her to just have to hop in and play as a 5th.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just kind of got pooped on every match.
Aaron says he remembers good for a whole map without realizing it. Wow. Damn.
I think we had. Oh, that was also the time. Oh my goodness, is Kratos in the chat right now? I really hope he fucking is, so he can hear this. It says he's viewing. This was the time. If you thought things couldn't go worse for us, we were also playing on Balmora. There's this huge lag spike on the server. Everybody is lagging. I was like fighting. We were on white side Balmora. I was fighting Besser in mid. I was trying to run back, and then I just like teleport back in the mid and die. I think like someone in our back was throwing a grenade, and they like teleported in front of the ammo droid, and then blew themselves up. I think somebody else like self-killed by accident while we were all lagging in the back, and then Kratos just runs the flag in through all the DC, and we were just so tilted from it. And it's just like just nothing could go our way that tournament. It was horrible. Kratos, if you have anything to say for yourself, do it now, please. Everybody in the server was lagging. We all like died because of it, and Kratos just runs the flag in, and then I remember that was like right near the map end. We go to the next map, Moss. I'm running down first way as Empire, and Kratos kills me, and then teabags me and runs to our flag.
Oh my
All
god.
that. Oh man, it was a tournament, that's for sure.
Okay, so the BFH 3v3 I found you did not play in. At least in their tournament history.
Yeah, I think I wanted to take another break at that time.
So I think we are good on covering that one. I think I'm trying to think here. Was season 4 of Gale after this, or I think we just did was this a sniper only year? It'd been the sniper
I
only.
don't quite remember.
So I guess we can talk about the sniper here. You know, you play with your C buds. You had Villain Widow. Pred was your sub. This has one of the greatest TKs of all time in the tournament. You guys had a flag and were pulling it mid, and then I think it was Widow sticky nated Villain in conference door, and made sure that you guys ended up. I think that flag ended up getting stopped. But
Yeah, I don't quite remember that. I remember exactly. I don't remember like who TK'd who. It was one of those two TK'd each other for sure, as they were like running past conference or something. And
yeah.
but that was a really fun tournament for us. You know, playing with Widow and Villain, playing with the C guys again. I think C was like the first clan I had really joined outside of JBA like clans. Like there's one pub server clan that I was in, and then I came to the top players that joined C. So it was a nice little throwback. Widow, it was Widowmaker and Plo Koon back in the day were the two like leaders of C, and that was basically the biggest clan, probably the. Well, there were two clans way before that I'd never played against, which were LT and LW, and then once those clans died out, I think C rose up and became like the best clan in PC GameSpy, for NA at least. So it was really fun playing with them again. Villain was pretty motivated to play with Widowmaker. Widowmaker was also still kind of shaking off some rust, but his sniper was obviously pretty cracked. Unfortunately, we couldn't take Stud with us. He was playing with Vorpal anyway, and it was the rule that you couldn't have 4 like top players on the team at that time.
Yeah.
But we were happy to play with Pred. He was kind of up and coming at that time, and his sniper's very solid. So we were glad to have him as a 4th. I think we played 1 or 2 matches with him, maybe only 1, because of Villain's schedule. But yeah, playing with Widow and Vil was the main goal the whole time. I know that Villain obviously loves to play with Widow. They've been great friends for years and years at this point, I guess. So
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you get through that. I think you guys ended up finishing 3rd, so you did good. And then we get to, I think it's the spring 4v4. So you played this is Team RRWS, which was you, of course, Ryan, Kratos, and Clone.
Yes. Clone, and we had Sniper as our fourth
So
or
you're
fifth.
so you're at 4 tournaments with Clone now.
Yeah, this is tournament number 4 with Clone, and there are more to come.
How was it being on Team RRWS?
That was also one of the most fun teams that I've ever been on. Kratos and I, we had wanted to play together for a while at that point because we were both like the edgy one-trick flag bots at that time. And we enjoyed playing together. We kind of saw the game in similar ways, right? The meme double jetting off of arena to flag, or just playing edgy W key for flag was me and Kratos at that time. So we messaged each other. We were like, "Do you want to play a team together?" We were like, "Sure, let's do it." Then we asked Clone and Kratos, or Clone and Ryan, and they were obviously down to play with us. I think we had some other ideas in mind for our fifth. We ended up going with Sniper. I don't think he played one match, I think. But he wasn't like Sniper wasn't. I think most people would say Kratos was better than Sniper at that time. So it wasn't like it wasn't the Sniper of today where he's a very top NA player. But that he was really fun. I think we beat the team that we lost to. Ended up getting knocked out from. We actually beat them before, and then we just couldn't beat them in playoffs. That was also the tournament we beat Kevin's team on Split. Like we had a really good Moss on EU versus them. And that was a really fun match.
I mean, yeah, in groups you looked great, or the Swiss system, I guess, not groups. One of the first teams to hit the qualification. The only loss you had was versus Super Mad, which Super Mad. It was playoffs where it got a little rough. You even ended up dropping a game to the guys you beat in Swiss. But I remember watching. I thought it was a fun team to watch. You guys seem to be themselves. I think, let's see. So we get the spring 4v4. So yeah, the next one is in the fall. I think was this 3v3? This is the 3v3, right? This is the big one. So
Is it?
pretty sure it is. That was
there one more.
No, it's season 4. Okay. So we're talking about this is the big 3v3 season, right? This is the time that NA finally does it. NA finally wins, right? Was this a long thing in the were you guys planning this for this season, or did it kind of happen when you knew Supermad was going to play?
I had messaged, I believe, Stud and Sev. I think I don't remember how long before the season was supposed to start. Maybe like a couple months, maybe like 2 months before or something. 1 to 2 months, somewhere in that time frame. And I had said, "Hey, let's team up. Let's do the greatest NA team that we can." And they were like, "Sure, let's do it." I was like, "I really just want to beat Super Mad. I think we can do it. I think we can take them on NA. It will, obviously EU is going to be tough, but the main reason why I also wanted to play them was, or wanted to do it at that time, was because Stud was in Georgia at the time. So if we played them, we would play them on Split, and that if we had played them on full NYC and beat them just because Stud was in West Coast or whatever, no one would consider that a real win over them, right?
Yeah.
So I really wanted us to beat them on Split, and we were able to do that, and I think that was huge for us. There are some people that will say like, "Oh, you guys didn't really win the tournament because you only beat Super Mad once. Like there wasn't the bracket reset," which for me is fine. If you want to say whatever, you guys should have had to play them again. I think that's fine. My goal coming into that tournament was not to win the tournament; it was to beat Super Mad, and we did that in a 3-match series. So I think that's
I mean the reason there wasn't a reset is you played 3 maps and you won when it counts, right? So
yeah. But yeah, I think that was I think we
What
I
was
think
it
we
like? I mean, just to not sorry to like break the gear a little bit, but what was it like to play with Seven Stud? What was how different was it from any other team you had been on?
well at the start it was really the first time that I had ever played with Seven Stud. Like our first practice scrim together was the first time that I had ever played with Seven Stud on my team at the same time. Right? Like I had literally never played with them, not even in any scrims or anything. Never had Sev and Stud on my team at the same time. So I think our start was actually a bit slower than I would have hoped. I think I don't know, our first few scrims and stuff, we just didn't really seem focused. There was a little bit of like tilt that came through at the start. I think our first like close match for Supermad kind of gave us some hope. But before that, I don't know, we were just like all over the place in scrims. Um, I think we just weren't focused. I'm not sure if we maybe believed that we could do it or not. So
Well,
I think that first match kind of helped our belief.
Seb's in the chat saying he laughed at you when you DM'd him about it. So
Yeah, I think we really just need to get used to playing with each other. Like I think personally, Sev and I have kind of different ways of viewing the game. So I think we needed to practice a lot and kind of figure out how we wanted to play as a team, and what kind of style like worked best for us. Um, and part of the problem was, like by the time Stud got home from work at that time and like Sev was off and ready, there were no really EU teams that we could scrim against. I mean, we scrimmed like 90% of our scrims was against IL, which I appreciate them for scrimming us with us, but it was kind of like 12-1 was like their best performance at that time, right?
yeah,
So it was very kind of hard to fix some of our flaws at the start, I think. Towards the end of the tournament, I think we were starting to scrim against some EU teams. I need to take a drink real quick. I had been scrimming with like Yannick, and playing 2-on-2s with and against him at that time a lot, which I think helped my individual level a lot. Our first match against, what's it called? What was their team name? The Nightwing Yadu Dark Rider team.
the Highness.
Highness, yes. Our first match against them, we got 5-0'd on EU on Uda.
Oh, yeah, it was super
And
close.
I don't know, that Uda pal, we were like, that was like, oh, we were just so uncoordinated, so unfocused. We were so like, I don't know, just out of it at that time. Um, and then we came to NYC and just kind of dominated. Like it was a 6-5 in a scoreline. I really feel like we should have done a lot better than that. But they played well at Uda for sure. I think Yadu had like this huge 2K right as I was about to cap the flag. I was like a foot away from the zone.
Yeah.
So they definitely played well on Uda, but I think we like really underperformed on EU that match. And then we're going up against Superman next week. So it's like, oh my goodness, we need to step it up if we want to have a chance for Superman.
Yeah, I mean, you guys only lost by one flag in group stage, right? So it looked like you guys were close. Like the reason for this team's forming was within reach. It seemed like. Is that
Yeah,
how it
and
felt?
honestly, well, we started off playing them on Balmora. We were on white side. I think a couple of us died. Stud and I were respawning. Sev was pushed up in mid. I remember going over this on the VOD review. And Stud like immediately runs out of the spawn right after we spawn. And then he and Sev get like pinched in mid and die. And then they cap like right at the start of the map. So already we're down 0-1. Just because I think it was a little bit of nerves or something. My throat's really dry now. I need to get a drink real quick.
Okay.
I've been talking for too long.
Yeah, it's all
Be right
good.
back.
What's up, chat? How's it going? Hope you guys are enjoying it so far. Oh, Inflex AFK now too. He just wants to be cool. It's a good time to think about questions you're going to ask him because we're going to have that towards the end of this. I'm not going to deign to respond to that, Inflex. I'm sorry.
All right. I think, yeah, so the start of the Superman match, I think we maybe were a bit nervous, maybe trying to make too much happen too quickly, right? Because the goal was, score 6-0 on NYC, or we might just lose the match, right?
Yeah.
So I think we just kind of rushed out at the start. They capped a flag early, and that flag might have been the difference maker, right? The match is going to play differently based on the score of the match. Like if they don't cap the first flag, maybe everything else goes differently. But when you look at it just in isolation, it does feel like that first cap that we just stumbled on, could have been the difference maker in that first match. And I think we went into EU up 5-1, I believe. So a 4-cap lead. We play on Moss, which we just get absolutely rolled on the right side of Moss at the start. Like it was over like 2 minutes or whatever. Maybe not 2 minutes, but like 3 to 4 minutes. It was brutal. And then we go to brown side Moss, and we're like, all right, well, we got to do something now, or else we're just gonna, we're gonna look like idiots if we just get rolled here again. And at the start, I had this really good play. I went on top of Market. I got like a kill for long on the Slender. We had this great chance to score, and I think Yannick just pulls off like a 1 versus 3 or something. And on my screen, I definitely hit him a couple times, but I'm sure they hit us a couple times on NYC. So that really changed the match. I think that huge play by Yannick. I think
I'm trolling. All right, we're back. Don't worry about it.
I definitely think there's a very real world where we get that cap through, and the match is very different. I feel like it was 3 of us on him. We were definitely shooting him a couple times, and he was surviving. So
you're saying Battlefront magic was there.
It was tough, and then also right at the end of the match, Sev had ran out first way to try to get a cap, and I believe it was either Yannick or Toby, because I think Slender had the flag. He was pulling a Starkey. He was like, I was on top of Nighthawk with Sniper, and Slender was, I think, below me.
Yeah.
With the flag as Darky. And then there was another Darky trying to help him, but then that Darky went to stop Sev, and I whiffed. I didn't even whiff once. I whiffed a couple times. And we definitely could have gotten that trade through if I had hit those shots. But I ended up missing the Darky. The Darky killed Sev, and we ended up losing that match by 1. But I think I think we were, even though we lost and it was kind of like a tough, 1 flag loss, I think we were all pretty happy with how we played that match, unlike in the match before. I think we were happier after losing that match than winning against Hydus, just because I felt like we were much more on the same page. We were playing better. We were, not tilting as much. So I think that was a huge kind of momentum boost for our team, and I think we were able to start like focusing a lot more and actually start improving as a team. And it was also, we had been playing together for like a couple weeks at that point, right? And we're losing the Super Mad by 1 cap.
Yeah,
you can go.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, I think it seemed like it was within reach, right? Even though you had this short play time together, you were already playing Supermat so close. You guys kind of breezed through groups for the rest of it. I think the closest match you had was like a 9-3. Nobody was like in doubt that you.
Do you remember why they capped 3 flags?
No, I don't. This is too long ago.
We played against it was Cantina Crew. It was Strider, Ven,
yeah,
and Crude. And it was like an hour before the match. Sev was like, "Hey, I'm about to buy a car, so I can't play this match right now."
Oh,
And we were like, "Okay, Bester, are you on?" And Bester was like, "Yeah, I'm on." We were like, "All right, well, luckily we could just play with Bester." Um, and then me, Son, and Bester were like, "Hey, do you guys want to just pick something fun against this team? We're gonna smash them anyway." And so we picked Mustafar GCW. We start on brown
oh,
side. We get just
right.
Stud and I get absolutely smashed on brown side of Mustafar. Besser was like the only one. I think he went like even or maybe like slightly positive or something. But we lose that map 3-0. We we just got shit on in the first map, and then we just 9-3 them from there. So
Yeah, I remember. Okay, it is coming back now because everyone's like, okay, does Cantina Crew just win now? Because you guys got smashed. Then yeah.
After the first map, we were like, "Ooh, this was awkward." And then we 3-0'd them on the next map. We're like, "All right, we're fine." But yeah, that map one was rough for sure.
All right, so we go into playoffs, play Highness first round. It's 10-6. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was fairly close, but I don't think anybody was in doubt. You know, obviously you guys were the top dogs. Highness was always close, it felt like, but not quite there. You get to Super Mad, and everybody was like, okay, so they lost only one flag in group stage. Let's see what they can do now. And then you guys lose 6-2. And everybody on the outside was like, oh no, what happened? But what was it like internally?
Well, we played them. That was the match where they picked
I think you guys
Balmora.
left Jabba's, wasn't it? Or did you pick Jabba's into it?
We picked Jabba's against Highness. We didn't pick Jabba's against Superman.
Okay.
The first Superman match, we banned Dagobah and Jabba's because we were scared of the Jabba 6-0 on EU, and we were just scared of their, Dagobah on EU. The second match, we banned Dagobah and Moss, I believe. They were like, we were practicing Jabba's at the time. We wanted them to pick Jabba's because we felt like
Oh yeah, I remember that.
We were really strong at Jabba's, and that hey, if they pick Jabba's on EU, yeah, maybe they're gonna get 6 caps, but we have a good chance of at least getting a few caps through of our own. So we were really hoping that they would pick Jabba's. We left it open. They went with Balmora to get like a third NYC ban, right? And then we went with, I believe, Mustafar. And we played Balmora first on EU. We got absolutely smashed. It was very quick. Then we went to NYC, and I had like one of the worst performances. I will say, I don't want to sound like I'm making excuses, but my internet was really tough that day. That was like the time where my router was having problems, where I'd go out of the game and my internet would have, I'd open the CMD test and it'd be like, oh, you have 600 average ping to NYC, and I'm like, oh fuck. So I have watched that VOD a couple times. I was like shooting people over and over, and they were just taking fucking nothing. I think I went like 6 and like 20 or something.
Yeah.
It was really rough. I literally went and upgraded my internet after that match just because it was so horrible playing that. I was basically the reason we didn't 3-0 on Mustafar Brown. And then, the 6-2 scoreline does look rough, but if we had been able to play fourth map, I think we, would have made it a lot closer. So it was definitely closer than a 6-2 scoreline seems, right? We were only one flag away from bringing it to map 4, where we, I think, at least for me, white side Mustafar is my much preferred side. I just feel like I have more options to play on white side Mustafar, where on brown side you're kind of just forced to push from low ground to high ground at some point in the map. So on white side, I think there's just on white side there's more options. I can go outside, I can go mid, I can go bridges. You can kind of move around more. So I definitely feel like if we could have just gotten that third cap on Mustafar, we definitely could have brought it to OT, but we didn't, right?
Yeah.
And then it looked rough on the 6-2 scoreline, but I think we just Yeah, I think it was just a little bit unfortunate for us. I think I started playing Airfrag Train an absolute ton after that. I was playing like 500 kills a day on Airfrag Train at that point.
Damn. Dedicated.
Just trying to improve my sniper because I was playing really poorly individually for a lot of that 3v3 league. So I was really unhappy with how I was playing, and I was pretty motivated to take down Supermed. So I was just grinding out Airfrag Train as much as I could.
I guess as
And
a side question into that, I mean, we're gonna get into the grand finals here shortly, but I feel that was the best you were individually.
It's kind of hard to say exactly. I definitely think I played well in the first and third Superman matches. The second one, obviously, yeah, I kind of bombed it, but probably. I mean, it's also hard to say because like if I go even versus Superman on EU, like how do you compare that to me going like 20-10 versus a weaker team on NYC, right?
Yeah.
So it's always hard to say when you're playing against like really stacked teams how good your scoreline is, like how well you're playing. But I definitely feel like I played really well in those first and third Superman matches. Second one was we don't talk about it, I guess. But yeah, I was very grinding. My sniper was probably one of the best it's ever been at that time. So
Okay, so like we've just been talking about that happens. You guys, I don't think you actually played Highness. I think Highness did not play. I don't remember the exact specifics about that. It's too long ago. Don't need to get into it. Get to Supermad in the grand finals. I think most people still had everything on Supermad that they expected Supermad to win. You guys ended up pulling it out by one flag. And everybody was just like, "Oh my god, it happened!" Supermad lost. I remember talking to Yadu and scheduling is what Dark Rider said. That makes sense. That makes sense. I've been on a team with Yadu. Seb told me it took him a long time to actually like process he did it. Even in the interview, it hadn't really like clicked. But what was it like beating the best team in the Steam era of the game?
I mean, I think because we had such a we played them on Balmora EU at the start of the match 3. I went, I think, even both maps. So
and you had some clutch plays.
I was
I
like
remember
playing
that.
really well. Yeah, I had this one versus 2 flag stop. So I think after we went down by like 1 cap on EU, we were kind of like, okay, this is our match. We could definitely do it. And then Uda Brown, we also went up 3-0, and then we're feeling great at that time.
Yeah.
And then we go 0-0 on Uda White, and then it's like, ooh, this is suddenly getting a little scary again. And then we go to EU Tantive, and we we lose that 3-0 pretty quickly. I think I went even again on I think I actually had a better KD on EU than I did on NYC that match.
Oh, nice.
Like I think I went like even every time on EU pretty much, and I went like like 1 map negative on like double negative on Uda White.
So you're the EU goat, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I don't really know what happened. It just worked out that way. I guess Uda White's just not my map. Also, it's part of it probably. So we go down by 3 on, or I think we're still up. Or I think we're down by 1 going into the final map.
Yeah, you're down by 1. I remember this.
And I don't remember which one was the first cap, but there was one cap where Toby's trying to come out of H room. I think he was like 3/4, but I still got, a pretty good damage on him. And was able to just run the flag past for there. And then they capped the flag. And then I don't remember what the other flag was, but I remember the final cap was Stud getting a big 1 shot onto Toby again.
He had I think he had an insane, like there was a stop.
He was like 10-3, I think.
I think there was a single door where he had a pretty crazy stop. Like they were, you guys were pinching him, but he was like alone, if I remember right, and he ended up getting 2 or something like that to get flag control. But they were in your single door. And I think the crazy thing at the time was everybody was like, okay, they're only down by 1 flag, but you're on the weak side of Tantive. They
Yeah,
had the strong side.
we each played weak side on home server.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just barely clutched that. I remember, because I was going for the Vader flank while Stud and Sev were fighting on the other side of the map, and Stud one shots Toby for long. They pinch Slender, kill him. I'm like trying to chase Yannick. He drops down, tries to stop them. They kill Yannick, and I'm just like, let's fucking go or something. I have the clip somewhere, I think, but yeah, it was just kind of crazy in the moment. It was just so tense until the end, right? Because the score was so close. I honestly thought we might lose after they got that one cap on Brown side.
Yeah.
So I was like, ooh, this is gonna be rough. I think we were also like quite tilted after Uda not going well, and then like a second Uda not going well, and then Tanev going horribly at the start. So it was definitely we needed to pull ourselves together on map 4, and we just barely did it. So yeah, it was just crazy for a while. I think. I don't really know if I was. I think it definitely registered for me. It's just, yeah, I don't know. It was just a crazy win. I was very happy for that.
I mean, the goal you set out to achieve was accomplished, even if it was a little shaky at times. And then ever since, I think you've never been like a top team, quote unquote. You've been, as a top player, I've always been there, but so you get the win and then you move on. I don't remember exactly which tournament is next. Let's go have a look. I think that was spring, so we're going into 2022 major. And this is the MR team. We're not gonna. I'm not interested in any of the whole like conspiracies about ping and all that stuff. We're just gonna talk about results. In the end, you make it to grand finals when you weren't supposed to again. And then not only that, you reset the bracket. So you guys got damn close to beating 3C. What happened in the reset? Because I think the reset was pretty one-sided in the end. I think 3C just kind of took care of business, right? Oh, no, it was another 2-1.
No, it was. We went into map 4. If we had won the map, I think we would have went to OT, and I think we tied the map. Actually, I think it was like 2-2 at the end. So we definitely could have taken that to OT. It kind of sucks because we played 3C 4 times that major, and we beat them twice, and they beat us twice. But it was just the 2 that they had were, the more important 2 wins. I think
down internet.
Baird's internet was also really shaky at that time. I mean they were just a really strong team too. Like they were just good at everything. I think after group stage, because we played them in group stage, and I was like, I'm picking Moss in this. I remember talking with Stud, and I was like, I'm picking Moss in this team. They're not good at Moss. And Stud was like, are you sure, bro? Like, I don't know if you want to pick Moss into Ryan Pictrue's Widow. I was like, dude, I know exactly what they're going to do on Moss. I know how to beat them on it. And we, like, shit on them on Moss. And from then on, they just ban Moss every game. So I think it's kind of unfortunate that we fixed their problems early on. But since they started banning Moss, they looked like one of the strongest teams. Like, they were so good at Conquest. 3 really insane fraggers that you could have pictures running bases and stuff.
Yeah.
So they were just a very solid team all around.
Ryan team's banning Moss. Name a more iconic duo.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I was able to IGL the way on Moss and just sneak past them. Like, I just felt like I had a really good read on their team on Moss and 2 flag maps kind of in general. So that's what we went for, and group stage went great, and then not so great from there.
I mean, obviously you end up making it to grand finals. Nobody ever thought you would. I think a lot of people, you overperformed by a lot from groups to this to the end of result. I don't think anybody expected MR to do that well, right? What was kind of special about the team that made you do so well?
I think we just kind of had like a good mix of like fragging and objective play. Like Boas and Crude were definitely the main, like they were the guys going for frags. Baron and I were more kind of watching the map, the flanks and stuff, and going for flags and stuff. So I think we kind of mixed well that way. We also, if you can play NGs and you can play GCW specs, I think that makes your map pool pretty insane. Because even if a team, picks like Utapau or Dagobah into you, if you can just get to those specs, then, you can still perform well on them. So I don't really think we had a weak map. Maybe there were maps that we weren't as good on for sure, but I don't think there was anything that teams like could punish pick into us. Like even Dagobah, I don't really like the map, but I could play it. Crude likes the map. Boas can play the map.
Yeah.
If Baird's our fourth, it's fine. So, I think we were just kind of pretty well rounded. Boas was also fragging quite well at the time. I think he was also like kind of like an urban, so he was kind of underrated at the time, and it was a good pickup for us. I think I picked Crude first, and then whoever the stud passed up on Boaz, and I was able to get him after in the second round, like right at the start of the second round.
Yeah.
So that was kind of huge too.
Okay, I guess. So for 2022, I think the partner up draft was next. You didn't plan that. We've got 3v3 season 5. This one. Docs change every single time.
I play with and friends, right?
Not in 3. Oh yeah, you did actually. You guys were in Division 2.
D2.
So you got this, you seem to go one way than the other. You'll be up at Division 1, back down to Division 2. And friends, it's a mix of, this was the skinny debut. So, what? Well, where did Skinny come from? I mean, obviously he said he's been lurking and been around for a long time, but I think you would probably be the one that got him to play, right? How did that come about?
Well, originally for this season, I was gonna play with Vishy and Che. We just wanted to play together and have like a fun season. And Skinny had just came to the community at that time. He, I believe, watched like a bunch of streams and stuff, but he never actually like played with us. So, we were like, well, we should probably pick up a fourth. It'd be nice to pick up Skinny. He's this young up and comer. We can kind of trade him a little bit. We'll just have a good time. So we asked Skinny to play with us. I believe he was signed up with like Looted and Destry at the time, and Destry got mad at me for poaching, but whatever.
Yeah.
And so we picked up Skinny, and then Vishy's schedule like went to complete shit, and he was like, yeah, I just can't play at all. Like I got stuff from work to do. And so we were like, well, we're gonna kick Vishy off the team. We'll pick up Clone, and that's tourney number 5 with Clone.
There you go. Yeah, that is tourney number 5.
Tourney number 5 with Clone, and I don't know. We kind of floundered in the what's it called?
The qualifier bracket, I guess.
Qualifiers, yeah.
You got smashed by me.
I don't know. We just rolled so hard, and then that was when it was a illy split. So yeah.
Oh yeah, that was back when we were starting to use Illinois for you. That's right.
Yep. I figured we could do fine on Moss. I just got a little bit too cocky, I guess. So we got clapped on EU, and then I think we were just too tilted going into Illy. And then D2 I don't remember who else was in the season with us. I believe LT was like our biggest challenger.
Yeah, you drew against them once. There's a 7-7 game, and then
I think we like smashed the other teams.
yeah, well,
early in that,
so
though.
the 7-7 game was kind of troll. You guys were already first seed. I don't think you cared as much. The first time you guys met, you went 10-5. So yeah, and then it was Silver's Anonymous, and that was the Pollar's Copper. That was the team you poached Skinny from, actually. So yeah, it was a pretty breeze. You kind of just through it, no problem. I don't think we did relegation this season. Or yeah, we just did
No,
playoffs.
there was the big drama with.
Oh right, so yeah, you guys, LT and you guys automatically qualified. That's what happened. I remember now.
Yeah, OG and KJC did not
Yeah.
make it to relegations, and we and LT just went on.
Start of Urin's legacy.
And that's yeah, that was interesting for sure.
Yep. And then I think there was a BFH 3v3 at this point that you played in, and you played with Skinny again, but I think this time you had Kratos. There was of course, my favorite clip from that team is when Skinny tried to clear a mine and killed both of them in the Necrovac spawn.
Yeah, it was me, Kratos, Skinny, and Never.
Oh yeah, Never was on the team. That's right.
Was there a tournament before that though? I feel like there was. I feel
I
like I
don't
played
think
with
so.
Clone again at some point. Maybe not.
It would have had to have been another 3v3 season, I think, which we did. There was not. I don't think. Let me go double check my sheet history. But I don't think so.
Maybe I didn't play with Clone. I think, well, because I was planning on, because like I really like to play with different people. I've played with a lot of different players in NA at least.
Yeah.
So I was originally planning on not playing with the and Friends guys again. I was gonna play with somebody else. Like I went over as free agent. Because Skinny was also saying at the time like he wasn't really motivated to play EU and he didn't want to play on like split matches. And then Skinny was like, you know what, I'll play. And then they were all like motivated to play, so I was like, all right, I'll play with you guys. But then Clone had already asked Ven to play, so now we have like 5 players.
Yeah, that was a B on the.
So we were just like, all right, well, Clone and Ven are gonna split off, and they're gonna find some different players that will just play with the 3 of us, and then we got Never. So it was like kind of awkward at that time, trying to figure out who was gonna play with.
Yeah, that was the MILF team. Man, I love flags where you used.
I think we had some good performances there. I think we ended up losing to like the 2 stack teams in the tournament, or maybe there's like 3 stack teams in the tournament. I think.
Yeah, I mean, Chickle My Pickle was like Raj.
Yeah.
And then you had HDF and Drago.
And I think Skitty was also still on the rise at that tournament. Like he wasn't quite at his peak yet. So we were still kind of figuring out, you know, what maps we were good on and stuff. I think we made a few kind of troll map picks that tournament. That was when Skinny was like starting to become the Uda GOAT at the time. But we didn't really even pick Uda because it was like me and Kratos were the other 2 on the team. We also had some thoughts of like, let's play with me, Never, Skinny, and just pick Udapau. You know, we'll have 2 insane Udapau players, and then I'll just be like the flag guy, kind of, you know, a 3rd supporting player. So I think I think if we had maybe some more time to practice and play as a team, we maybe could have done a bit better, but we still did pretty well overall. And it was another like really fun season. Like as much as I want to play with new players, I definitely like playing with all those guys.
Yeah.
I think Kratos is probably like my favorite teammate to play with in the community. He's just always very positive and always like trying to win. He's always making moves, trying to help out and everything. So I really enjoy playing with Kratos. Everyone else on that team I enjoy playing with too. You know, I've played with Claude so many times. I like playing with Clone. Skinny's a great teammate too. So it was a lot of fun, but yeah, we ended up falling a little bit short.
I think that it almost covers everything. I mean, we've got this year's tournament fresh. I don't think we go too great of detail. I mean, obviously the 2023 major, um, you guys almost flag away from making sure the grand finalists didn't even make the playoffs.
If only Fox had showed up, we would be in the playoffs. But oh well.
And then I think we could talk about the weekend tournament briefly because it's something new, is never done before. And not only that, you guys had an absolutely insane run to top 3. Playing with J-Man and Nightwing, right? How was that?
Well, originally I was gonna play with. I
Yeah,
messaged.
J-Man was an emergency
Yeah,
sub.
I created a group chat with Nightwing and Sniper. I asked them if they both wanted to play because basically at this point I played with like every top NA player who had been like high plat and higher at least at some point, which was like Sev, Stud, Skinny, Kratos, Clone, Widow, Ven, Ryan. I played with like all of them. And it was kind of basically Nightwing, Sniper, and like Ace left, I guess. It was probably one other name I'm forgetting.
Yeah.
I guess Lack's starting to get up towards high plat at this point too. But I pretty much played with pretty much every top NA player. So I was trying to check off some of the final names. And then Sniper had work come up where he couldn't make it. So we were like, all right, well, let's get J-Man. And then I guess teams, I don't know if teams underestimated us or if we just overperformed, maybe a bit of both. But yeah, we had a really good day.
I mean, let's just like, and not only did you guys, I mean, I hear it was one-sided after a certain point, but you still only lost by 1 flag on paper to the team that won the tournament, right? Obviously, you're having a really good day. What worked so well? Is there anything in particular, or was it just luck of the draw?
I mean, you can't. I don't think you can really say luck of the draw because we played against like 4 or 5 different teams.
Well,
I
yeah, but
think.
I think when I say luck of the draw, I mean, like, was it just a really good day? If you were to do it again another weekend, would the result be different?
Hard to say. I think we definitely had the potential to continue that performance. There's some other teams that maybe didn't have the performance they would have liked to. I think, at least for me, it was kind of like beating Ain't No Way was kind of big for me because I was like, well, if I can beat my former team that was supposed to be better than me with teammates that are in theory, worse than them, it kind of helped booster my like individual kind of status. Like I felt like, oh, it kind of proves my impact. Because I'm not like the biggest fragger in the game, of course. I think people know this. But I think I'm able to find impact in other ways. So beating them, I think was good feeling for me. I think J-Man and Nightwing played really well too, which helped. And yeah, I think it was a good tournament. I think it just kind of helped me. Like against Superbad, I think I kind of proved to myself that I'm a very big impact player. That I can maybe I don't have the most traditional play style, but I think that I can be like a really top player. And I think in this tournament also, I could have felt that way. That maybe I'm having some hidden impact there that people aren't really seeing sometimes.
Okay.
So it was a good day for me for sure.
Just regarding the weekend format as well, did you enjoy it? Is it something you I don't know if the often's the right word, but would you do?
I definitely would do more of it. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as some other people did. Like there were some people that were like really going crazy over the week, the day tournament. I know I think I hosted a one-on-one Rocket only tournament a long time ago in like 2019 or 2020, early 2020.
Yeah, I remember that.
And that was just really tiring because I was casting, I think, every match pretty much and playing in matches. So the biggest problem with the one-day tournament in this community is like you don't have dedicated casters. So I imagine like Dark Rider and Slender played a bunch of matches and they cast some matches too. So I imagine by the end of the day that they were extremely tired, which it can kind of degrade the finals performance.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a shame, but you still get a very good matches at least.
It was a day, says Dark Rider, and Slender said as long as break was 15 minutes.
For me, casting is more tiring than playing. I don't know if other people share that, but it was from the one day tournament that I casted. By the end of that, like I played in the finals of that Rocket only thing against WoW, and I was just fucking dead. So I imagine that Slender and Dark Rider for that finals were also extremely tired. Especially since it went way over schedule, but that's gonna happen sometimes.
It happens. I mean, it happens to big
So, yeah,
big dogs.
It's I think it's easy for the people who are just kind of playing to say, yeah, that was fun, let's do it again. Or the people that are running it are a little more burnt out than you might realize.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, so I mean we've covered basically everything. I've got questions for you. I know chat will have some questions. I mean you got one of the biggest icons in the game at the moment. I mean, so one of my biggest questions for you, and you can be as modest as prideful as you want, whatever you want to do here. Where do you put yourself in the hierarchy of Battlefront 2? Like people can, I think people at this point cannot dispute that you're a top player, but where personally see yourself?
It's really hard for me to say, um, because like I said, I think my style is different. Like I feel like I'm the only like top player that's kind of a flag bot. I think No Way is actually a little bit of a flag bot, if I'm being honest. But I think other than that, I think I'm one of the few like top players that's mostly objective focused. So it's very different. I think I'm not supposed to be the guy that's gonna be the main fragger on the team. I think your team's gonna have problems if I'm kind of that guy.
Yeah.
But I think one of my biggest strengths is just making my teammates like comfortable in game, giving them like the tools to kind of succeed. So I I don't know. I mean, it's I was thinking sometimes about making like a top 10 players list, but um, I f- I don't know. I've also I've had some good performances versus top players. I've had some bad performances where I just get kind of clapped. So it's hard to say. I think when I think for me, like even when I was playing like tennis too, because I played tennis my whole life. If I'm like a lot of times I'm just kind of on autopilot, but if I have like an adrenaline boost, I feel like I can be one of the like very top players in the game. Like if I'm really getting in the zone.
Yeah.
And I feel like just my kind of play style is just allows me to just have a lot of impact, even if I'm not necessarily fragging. So I don't know. I can't really give you a great answer.
I mean, that's fair.
I definitely put myself pretty high. Obviously, I'm going to be a bit biased because it's like, well, I'm seeing things from my own POV,
Yeah.
and not necessarily being able to see things from other people's point of view. But I feel like, because like I played a scrim versus No Way, Toby, Stuo the other day on full EU, and I feel like I played quite well on that. I think I went like even pretty much every map. So, on full London. So I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I could be. I feel like I'm just inconsistent. Is also part of the problem of trying to rank myself.
Yeah.
Where I think a lot of top players have much better consistency than me, and I think that's why they're some of the top players is their consistency. So and I think my consistency also kind of comes down to my autopilot versus adrenaline rush doves, which one you're getting today. So I don't know. Definitely high. I think people underrate me quite a bit just because of I'm not always the highest stats player. But I think if you look at some of the teams that I've been on that had maybe weren't expected to do as well as they did. And like if you look at the teams that have played against Superman and lost, there's a lot of teams that have 3 and safe record. Like you could say, okay, you played with 7 stud for sure.
Yeah.
It's like, well, yeah, but okay, but Nils, Kevin, Spitzkoff have also played against Superbad. Dark Rider, Spitzkoff, and Slender have also played against Superbad. There's like really insane teams that have played against them. So I think I'm just able to have some impact that people maybe don't quite see on the surface.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess that's as good of an answer as you're getting. I can't really rank
No,
without like making a list of all the players. I definitely can't rank where I am. I think if I'm playing my best, I could be top whatever for sure, like top 5, top 3.
And I guess straight into another rankings here. You've already said Kratos is probably your favorite, but who are like your let's give it maybe a top 5, I guess. You can even do top 3 if
Kratos is number 1. I just really enjoy playing with Kratos. I think he's like kind of like the perfect teammate in terms of mental and that area. I was really hoping to play with more EU player I've really never played with any top EU players other than I guess Urbans and Boas. I never. But other than that, I really haven't played with a lot of those. Like I think what most people consider to be the top players in the game.
Yeah.
So I'll put Kratos at number 1. I've played plenty of scrims with No Way. I'll put No Way at number 2. I'll just do 3, I guess.
Okay.
Number 3 is gonna be tough. I mean, I've played with so many. Like I said, I've played with like all the top players of the day at this point, pretty much. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be, man. I just go with top 2. I can't choose a third.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'll just go with Kratos and No Way. I think they're kind of similar, like teammates. Like they're always very positive. They're always, they're never gonna flame you if you mess up. If they're ever, tilted or anything. I mean, they don't even get tilted, right?
Yeah.
So I think just playing with them is just such a good team environment. So yeah, I'll put Kratos and No Way. Maybe tied for 1 and 2.
All right then. What is your favorite team to have played with? Kind of the same thing, but not quite. You're stuck with your teammates. So out of all of your teams,
For sure KJC, of course.
oh no.
No, I'll give a serious answer. Sorry. Favorite team? It's tough because some of the teams are so long ago. Like I had a lot of fun with TNT and I had a lot of fun with 6 a.m., but they've been so long that I can't remember exactly.
Gonna get it? Is it gonna get
I
narrowed down?
probably go with like my MILF teammates. I think that overall was just the best combination. I enjoy playing a lot with Never too. He'd definitely be up there in terms of like my top teammates.
Okay. I gotta agree
Never
with
could
that.
definitely tilt every once in a while for sure. But I think I consider him a good friend. Skinny, I've said this to a couple people, and he's in chat, so he'll hear this for sure. There are some times where you're playing with Skinny or just talking to Skinny, and you're like, "Yeah, this kid is definitely 16."
Oh, yeah,
It's quite
100%.
obvious that Skinny is 16 years old. But I think overall, he's also not someone that's ever going to tilt at you. So it's very fun to play with with all those guys. And I've played with Clone so many times
He
too.
playing R6 yesterday, and I've played a lot of hours with Skinny on games at this R6 and Battlefront. He just told this joke he thought up inside his head. He was laughing Like I could have swore he was like bent over in real life laughing so hard, and me and the guy that he was playing were just dead quiet. It's like he's definitely still so young.
But yeah, I think the Team MILF teammates were probably my favorite team. If I would run it back with any teammates, I'd probably go with the Team MILF guys.
Okay.
But
Hey,
it's a tough. There's a lot of close contenders. I don't really feel like any team I played with, I've been like unhappy with my teammates, to be honest.
okay. And I mean, I think there's an obvious choice, but I still want to see and hear it from you. What is your favorite match win of all time, if there is one?
Well, yeah.
The obvious one.
Yeah, the obvious one. I think the one of the big reasons for that is the two Balmoras, where I think I had really insane individual performances on EU.
Okay.
Oh, I wanted to say about this tournament about like playing against Supermad is I think a lot of people kind of make excuses for Supermad sometimes as like why they lost.
Yeah, I think.
Is like maybe, but I think people also kind of underestimate like if we had lost, I don't know if people would be also making excuses for us. Like we had only been a team for like a couple months, right?
Yeah.
And well, the first time we played them, we'd only been a team for a couple weeks, and we take them to a one cap game. I think that kind of says a lot about our potential and stuff. And Supermad at the time was playing quite actively, so I definitely don't think that argument is really in is a thing in the first match at least. Maybe in the second match they definitely weren't playing as actively for sure, or the third match, sorry, they weren't playing as actively. But I do think that they were very active the first time we played them. We lose by one cap. I think that the second time we played them, where they picked Balmora, a lot of people were like, "Ooh, Supermad, they're geniuses. They stole Balmora." And then we played against them in the third match, and they take Balmora, and we do well on it. And they're like, "Ooh, Supermad. Well, they shouldn't have picked Balmora. If they didn't do that, they would have won." And it's like, well, you can't say they're geniuses the first time for picking Balmora, and then say that they aren't geniuses the second time they pick Balmora, right? So it's kind of like you have to say either it was a correct play for both matches or the incorrect play for both matches. So I do think teams kind of take away from us, or not teams, but people kind of take away from us in that sense. But it's kind of minor things, to be honest. I'm sorry, Slender. it's not it's not it's not like aimed at you or anything. It's just I think people in general kind of like to say it wasn't as good of a win just because we won by like one cap or something.
So let's we talked about more takes, so we'll talk maps a little bit here. What is your favorite map to play?
That's tough. I've kind of been vocal like that. I don't think Mustafar is that great of a map for a while. I think
Yeah.
I've also said Koru is better than Mustafar, at least for 4-on-4. I think if I was gonna rank 4-on-4 maps, I'd go Moss, Core, Moose, probably. And for 3-on-3 maps, I'd just probably go Moss, Moose, Core, just because 3-on-3 Core could. Maybe I'll put tied like Moose and Coruscant. I think Coruscant can kind of be a little coin flippy on 3-on-3. It's the thing with Koru is I think it requires you to be a lot smarter than people realize, and sometimes it's like, oh, they just wiped us for long and kept the flag. Wow, it's Coruscant. It's like, well, there are definitely things that you could have done differently to avoid that, and every like you have to be like sometimes you're gonna have to spawn up on Koru, and knowing when to spawn up versus when to spawn back, I think is really tricky sometimes on Koru to get like kind of the maximum kind of efficiency on that map. So I think Koru, it can be very frag heavy at times if as a guy on Bugwall just playing insane with Sniper, but I think it's a very strategic map more than people realize. Where I think Mustafar is a lot less strategic even though it's more like consistent. So I think it kind of might feel that way. And for Moss, I think Moss is just the best map for sure in the game. I think if you want to be a good Moss team, I think you have to be good at literally everything in the game. You have to be good at offense, you have to be good at defense, you have to be good at Darkies, NGs, Wookiees, snipers. You have to be good at teamwork, right? You have to be good at being able to kind of stall around, to pinch, to flank. So I'm a huge Moss simp for sure. 4-on-4, 3-on-3. 3-on-3, it's sometimes a little bit tricky just because there's so much space to run around in. But yeah, I think it's definitely the most high skill map in the game where you see the best teams perform the best on Moss. There's times where people are definitely camping on Moss, and I think if you're a well coordinated team, you can really punish that.
I would agree.
And so that's one of the reasons why I think Moss sometimes gets a bad rep, just from like 4v4 scrims in the community where teams aren't quite as coordinated. But I think Moss and Koru are like the biggest brain maps for me. After Death Star, of course. Let me look at the map list. Let me see what else is out there. I don't think there's any other map I want to give a huge shout out to. Necro, I think it's okay. In my opinion, I know some people disagree with me on this, but I think Necro is really like shotgun damage favored. Like if you have good edgy damage, I feel like Necro's the map for you. But I know there's some people that disagree with me on that part. But yeah, for me, it's the big three are Mosmus, Koru.
I have totally lost my train of thought. What the next question was going to be. Complete blank. Chat, do you have any questions for him? Sure, one of them is going to be a great one. Who's your favorite map creator other than Ace?
Literally anybody. Oh, Slutter is WC. I don't know. Teams, I think, like obviously Widow's been playing well, but I think the biggest thing for Teams was I think Claude has been playing absolutely insane lately. And I think that Kimu also played really insane today. People are going to look at Widow as having a really good performance, but I think the difference maker was kind of in Kimu mostly today. Clone's been playing well lately, but I think Kimu was insane today.
We're gonna jump a couple, because I know one of your most controversial Battlefront opinions.
What is that?
That Wookiee is not S tier.
Well, okay. I actually thought of this question the other day. Let me ask you this, KMAN.
Okay, let's hear it.
It's Superbad versus 5S, playing on Moss, on
Okay.
EU, no specs. What's the score line? It's Superbad smashes on Brownside every time, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Now let's say 5S has Darkies, or specs are unlocked from the start. What's the score line?
If it's on EU?
Yeah.
I mean, if it's on EU, then the Darkie wins, but that's like, it's not just because of the Darkie's class power. There's a ping difference there too.
No. We're on EU. 5S is playing Darkies against Superbad's Wookiees and Snipers.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, in theory, you should win, but I don't know.
Like, I think it's that insane of a swing when you go from having specs to not having specs with a Darkie that I think Darkie has to be on a different tier from the rest of the classes.
I would give you that. At the time we had the tier chart, you were shoving Wookiee down into the tier with NG. And I mean, NG can kill a Wookiee, don't get me wrong, but they're not the same tier. So that was my thing.
I don't know. Well, there are maps where, like, once the snipers get really good, that Darkies start to get a lot worse.
Yeah.
Like Dago, I think we've seen Dago. It's been happening for a while now that Dago is becoming more and more brown-sided, and teams are just kind of stomping on brown as people's snipers get better. And I think They use the clone spot, as I like to call it, for spawn killing
I
on
feel
Brown, and you just see people just farming from that spot like every game.
I feel like that was always the case. It's just more front and center lately that top tier teams are playing other top tier teams. Holy moly, the text just got dropped. And I think that now it's you're seeing it more because you're seeing those high level matches much more than you used. Perhaps maybe not. Maybe I'm jumping the gun a bit on that, but
I also feel like there's just every the other player in this community is a sniper mate at this point.
yeah, that's fair.
Every time I join a scrim, and it's like, well, the other team's a sniper player, so we're a sniper player, so what are we gonna pick? It's like, well, I'm the only fucking edgy mate here. Let's pick Tandem.
Okay, so let's any other controversial opinions that you can think of that you might have?
Oof. There's one I'm gonna say, and it's gonna get a lot of hate from the EU players, but I think Dagobah is actually one of the more less strategical maps in the game, and relies more on fragging and spawn killing than any other map.
Okay.
I'm sure some people will disagree with that.
Let's see. So you did the okay. Jack asks favorite match to cast, and what is your favorite cast duo?
Favorite cast duo is me and you, for sure.
Okay.
If my Discord was working this morning, we would have casted a match, but I couldn't log on to Discord.
Do you have
favorite
a
match to
you
cast?
Yeah.
It's hard to say because I've casted so many matches at this point. It's kind of hard to remember. I don't even remember what finals I've casted and not. I think I remember casting the one finals against I think it was the Kevin Nils Spitzkopf team versus Superman. I think.
Yeah,
I think I casted that one with you.
Yeah.
The I see you, Mr. Yannick. That will
Yeah.
forever be
Yeah, I remember.
a legendary clip. So yeah, probably that.
Okay. Who is the most underrated player in both communities?
I say myself. Is that
Sure.
too cocky?
Yeah, no, I mean you can answer it how you want.
I'll say myself, but I'll give a second answer just because I don't want to be that guy.
So what's the second answer?
Let me go look at the list of players. Where 4v4 script. It's kind of hard to say at this point. Nightwing has been up and down a lot. It's kind of hard for me to say exactly how good he is. I maybe give a shout out to Nightwing for this question.
Okay.
I think he has a lot of potential. I think probably part of the problem with Nightwing is, like I said in the one day tourney, he played 40% of the tournament on 160 ping, and then he played 40% of it on 45 ping, and then the other 10% or 20% or whatever was on 75 ping, right?
Yeah.
So you get that guy on 20 ping for once in his life. Who knows what he could do?
Yeah, that's fair.
I'll give a shout out to Nightwing for that one.
Okay. Down the list. Who is the most handsome person in the community, and why is it Sniper? Seb asks.
It's definitely Blade if you consider him still in the community.
Oh, dude, yeah,
but
Blade
I
is a
guess,
very
but I guess
handsome
he's
man.
not still in the community. So, I'll say it's got to be Ryan. There's no way he's not slaying pussy in Canada over there.
Oh
It's got to be Ryan.
Oh, we're getting to the wall of text now. Do you
Blade is smoking hot? Yeah.
do you think there is any chance for the Rocket and Reggie ever being relevant in any way, with changes to them, obviously? And do you think anything should even be done to make them relevant, or should they just stay as dead classes? Same sort of thing with Droidica, though. That should be.
I'll answer one of them. I think Reggie should stay dead, unless there's a really good way of changing it that I've not thought of yet. But I think if Reggie was an OP class, I think this game would not be very fun. I think one of the big things about this game is that there's like no click and hold weapons in the game.
Yep.
And so I think the way that you kind of move in fights, like the way you strafe, I think is like that's what makes good players good. Like I really think if you look at pretty much every top player, I mean, I don't think Slender ADs. Slender does Slender things sometimes. I will say that, but I don't think he uses AD. I don't think there's any player like top player that really uses AD spam.
I think it's on.
Um,
I think a lot of it's in mouse movement, at least from an outside perspective.
yeah, so I think like the way that all the top players move and kind of strafe and like dodge stuff is very different. Oh, I haven't played against Nils that much, but Mutane brings up Nils. Maybe if I had played against him more. I will say I don't think the AD. I think top players use certain kinds of movement that maybe other players don't do, but I don't think they AD spam that much. So, um, I think Reggie should just stay dead. Rocket. I think if you want to buff Rocket to make it viable, you can't buff the splash. I know all the PS2 players love to suck the PS2 Rocket's splash radius. They just suck that off like crazy. I think the problem with that is that you just make it like no counterplay, and that's just not fun to play against. Like okay, like take like say we buff the splash and it's still kind of a weak class just because on CTF you need movement speed. Like how far do you go then, right? You just keep buffing the splash radius until you could just okay, you're guaranteed a kill, but then you're not going to do anything. And it's a perfectly balanced 50% win rate kind of thing class, but just nobody enjoys playing against it. So I think if you want to buff Rocket, you need to buff its health and movement speed. I think it maybe could be an okay class, but I still think it's kind of a class that you'd want to leave generally weak, just because it's also doesn't have much counterplay on a map like Tanov or something. It's always going to be a map or a class where how strong it is hugely dependent on the map.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, Tanov's going to be a good map for Rocket, but Moss is just never going to be a good map for Rocket. Even if you buff the movement speed on Rocket, Moss is just never going to be a good map for it, right? So I think it's kind of tricky to buff those classes. I have suggested buffing the Rocket's movement speed and health, I think, in the past. Increasing the cooldown I don't like either, just because I think the problem with Rocket is it's like an all or nothing class, and I think if you buff its all to kind of balance out its nothing, that's not the way to do it. I think you just want to kind of middle it out.
I was told, and this is my bomber, so you don't know if it's true or not half the time, but I was told that the radius, like they buffed it to PlayStation Radius at one point, and the class was just simply broken. But you put that type of blast radius in the hands of a mouse and keyboard, and it can't do anything about it. Next question that I think it's this next one. I don't think I missed any in the chat. If I did, I'm sorry. As Kratos goes, do you think the AD spam is counterable, or is it actually something that is strong if abused?
I think it's kind of counterable. Maybe in Sniper 1-on-1, it's kind of stupid, but I don't know. The part of the problem is I've never AD spammed, so I don't really know. Like I think you have to kind of play with and against it to really know its strengths fully. So I at least I don't feel like I've AD spammed. Maybe I've accidentally done it sometimes for sure, but yeah, I think there's a reason that the large majority of the top players don't do it, because I think there's stuff that's better than it.
Okay. I don't think there's any other questions, chat. I mean, is there anything else at all? Getting into the class debate now, we have opened up a whole new world.
We might have went past some questions, I think.
I don't think so. But just been talking about stuff related to the questions. Do a top 3 list for every competitive class in SWBF2. Oh God. Okay, so I guess start start with sniper. Top 3 sniper players.
Number one. It's hard to. Oh man, it's so hard to say.
I think the top 2 is easy. I think ranking that top 2 is very difficult.
I think you just have to say Sev, Jules, No Way.
Yeah.
And I don't know where I would put any of them. Just because it's like, well, when you say top sniper player, right? If you were drafting for a sniper only tourney, do you take Jules over No Way? Like even if Jules' aim is a bit better, does that make him a better sniper player just because his aim is better? Like I think there's more to the class than just having the insane aim.
Yeah, that's fair.
Where I think No Way is just going to be smarter. Maybe he doesn't like pop off as much, but I think he's able to probably still have the most impact. I'm a huge No Way simp. I think he just has more impact than any other player in the game. Even if he's not like popping off in the map, from the times that I've played scrims with him, his just knowledge of like when to push and stuff just seems on another level to me.
Okay.
So I'd put him as the best player in the game by like a couple steps even. So yeah. But they're definitely they'd be my 3 for sure, I think.
Okay, we gotta move to engineer next.
No Way.
Okay,
Problem is
if
I
you don't
haven't
put
played.
Vendetta on
I
the
haven't
list, we've got a
played
problem.
with a lot of. I haven't played with a lot of top EU players. I say No Way. Maybe 7 Stud even. It might be pretty biased because I played with them. That's my very biased answer, I guess. 7 Stud is 2 and 3.
Okay. We'll do the specs, I guess. So I guess we'll do Wookiee first. We'll save Darky for last.
I think. Well, Dark Rider says not having Slender is criminal. I think Slender is definitely up there in both categories, but I don't know. Like Slender strengths are different than theirs. I think. I don't know.
And I mean,
It's hard to say. It's all such like off by if you gave them a rating, it'd be off by like 0.0001.
And it also ties into playtime, right? Like you said, you haven't played with these top players on EU a lot.
Yeah,
so
I've never played with Slender on a team. It's hard to say.
Anyway, Wookiee.
Wookiee, I'll give it the Slender Wookiee. There we go. Probably Kevin.
Yeah, I think Kevin's Wookiee is absolutely insane, especially the long range snipes, bro. I've never seen somebody hit so many.
And then obviously J-Man Wookiee for sure.
Wow, I'm surprised you didn't put yourself there.
For number 3, I don't know. Honestly, I feel like the Wookiee players, I feel like that's kind of the one class where it's kind of lacking in terms of top players don't play it that much. Like they usually kind of switch to sniper and let the other teammates play Wookiees on like Moss or Dig or something.
I will agree with Jack on that. Having played Niels a couple times on EU, his Wookiee absolutely crazy. Darky.
No Way, number 1. No Way can triple shock you with 2 shocks. I don't know how he does it, but I've never been shit on by a Dark Trooper more than No Way. His Darky is it's fucking next level. Dead probably Kevin, and I don't know. I just haven't played with the top of you guys enough. And I think Sev doesn't play Darky as much as.
I think when he does, though, he's got the.
Yeah, he's definitely up there. I think he just prefers to play like sniper and if he's playing a normal scrim.
Yeah.
But I think if he really grinded it, he could definitely probably be number 3.
Okay, we got that out of the way. Let's see here. Can you rank every voice line? I don't know about that one. I think we'll skip that one. Jack asked, did you ever consider
Best one
changing
would
your name to
definitely
Now hear this. All hands man your battle stations.
That's gotta be number 1, right?
Okay. Jack asked, did you ever consider changing your name to Circles 308 like other games?
No.
Oh, I did forget Magna Jet. Oopsie. So yeah, let's go back. Best Magna.
Best Magna. That's kind of hard to say. Because even then, I feel like people don't like. There are definitely Magna players, people that will pull it out, but I don't feel like people like. It's not like Darky and Wookie, where if you get it, you're just playing it for the rest of the map. Same with like Jet and Magna, they just don't get played as much. Just because they have much more clear weaknesses, I guess. I don't know. I'll put myself at number 3 for Magna,
Okay.
maybe. I guess Jules is very insane at Magna. I don't know who else to give it to. I feel like nobody else plays Magna. People can be insane on it, but they just don't play it enough that I'm like, oh yeah, their name really pops out to me.
Fair enough. I guess Jet.
It's Svenny, of course. Yes, I'm sorry, Svenny. Svenny number 1. Jet. I'll put top 3. I don't. This is not in any order. I'll put myself, Nuts, and Slender.
That says Jet is kind of correct. It's definitely no cap. In the final class, Clone Commander.
It's gotta be Che.
You got to put Stud up there too for the USA finals.
No, Stud's at the bottom for the USA finals. I never want to see Stud ever on Commander on Utapau ever again. That was depressing.
Oh man. We've got the name question out of the way. I think we are caught up. I guess, is there any thoughts that you want to share? I mean, I don't think it's like any secret. You're probably one of the more controversial figures in our community. So, I mean, is there anything you want to share personally, or have we covered most of the bases?
I don't know. I'll pull out my ego card right here, and I'll say the only time I've ever signed up for a stacked team, I beat Superman.
Oh.
Bird out. Mic drop moment.
I need you to pick it back up because Jack has asked, which tournament did you rig the best? I guess that would be the Superman tournament. You rigged it to win.
True. It's the only tournament I've ever won.
All right. Well, I mean, we're over 2 hours. I don't think I made it quite 2 hours with Slender, so we've definitely met the time quota. I appreciate you doing this with me today. I'll shout it out again. I'll shout it out again, guys. I'm just doing this series to cover players' experiences on the Steam like timeline of Battlefront. If you want to come on and talk, I don't care what your skill level is. If you want to talk about your time on teams, tournaments, if you want to vent about how bad the staff system is, you can come on and talk about it. So if you want to do it, reach out and DM me. I have asked some players. There is one more on the list that has said he'd do it. We just got to get it scheduled. So thank you for watching. Hopefully we'll get live with that next one eventually. But yeah, feel free to reach out, guys. I'll probably contact some more people here soon to try and keep these coming out on a regular basis. But thanks, guys.